Okay. Oh, we are on. We are live. Okay, I'd like to start this meeting. April 17th, we'll call to order, starting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Before we get started, Steve would like to make a comment. So we'll allow him a minute or so.
I'd like to address Nottingham, the board, and the world. Tonight, I am Jewish, and tonight is a very, not holy day, but a day of remembrance. It's called Yom HaShoah, and in which, around the world, we will remember the 6 million Jews that were killed by the Nazis. Not only the 6 million Jews that were killed, but the gypsies, the gays, every ethnic group they wanted, they hated. This is a night to remember those that have been lost to tyranny and remember to stop hatred. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Okay. That being said, we'll move right along. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the manifests and payroll?
Yes.
Any questions or?
Haven't seen them yet.
No. Somebody want to make a motion? Roll right into it, Steve.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from the preceding, the manifest, minutes, whatever you want to call it.
No.
It's a different name.
I haven't seen them yet.
You haven't seen them yet?
I'd like to see them before I vote on them.
No?
All right.
I've seen it, I'll second it.
Okay. So we have a motion made by Steve Welch, seconded by John Moran. All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Steve Welch, aye.
Hi, John Warren.
I've been Bartlett. You wish to abstain?
Abstain, yeah.
Okay. One abstention, Tim DeBrio. Is that,
Yeah, Gabriel.
DeBrio, okay. Payroll? You did the manifest payroll?
Make a motion to approve the payroll.
The date?
What is today?
No, 418.
4/18/2023.
I'll second.
I have a motion made by Steve Welch, seconded by John Moran. Roll call, all in favor?
Aye, Steve Welch.
Warren.
I've been Bartlett.
Abstain.
Another abstention by Tim DeBrio. Public minutes from 3:20, 3:23, 3:28, and 4:3. Has everybody had an opportunity to review those?
I did.
Yep.
I'll make,
Go ahead.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of 3:23, and we're doing 28 too?
Yep,
The 3:28 and 4:3
yep.
as written?
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion made by John Moran, seconded by Steve Welch. Roll call. All in favor?
Aye, Steve Welch.
John Warren.
I've been Bartlett.
Aye, Tim DeBrio.
Unanimous.
I'll make a motion to approve the non-public minutes for 3:23, 3:28, and 4:3.
Seconded.
The motion made by John Moran, seconded by Steve Welch. All in favor? Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Hi, John Warren.
I've been Bartlett.
Aye, Tim DeBrio.
Okay, unanimous. All right, I guess this is where we're gonna come into, we're gonna skip down to general business and get right into, election of officers and representative committees, and then we'll go back up.
So open discussion. You want to be chair your last term?
I'll make a motion to nominate Ben Battle as chairman of the committee.
I'll second.
Okay.
Well, do you want it?
Yeah, sure.
Don't give him an option.
I didn't think I had an option, but all right. No, I would be honored to. So we, motion
And a second.
made by Steve Welch, seconded by Tim DeBrio. All in favor? Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
John Moran.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Okay. And I would like to nominate John Moran as the vice chairman.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion made by Ben Bartlett, seconded by Steve Welch. All in favor? Roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Hi, John Moran. Oh, sorry, what doesn't matter, but.
I, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Okay, so we have, your chair as Ben Bartlett, your vice chair as John Moran.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be running. For boards and committees, does any of you, being the two new representatives, have a wish to jump right in onto a certain board?
The 300th doesn't exist anymore, am I correct?
That's no longer.
Yeah, can
So I'll
we,
get on that one.
make note of that to, next time we,
I'll chair that one.
take that off for the
We're
next,
gonna make it 325.
Yeah.
here we go, Steve, yeah, you're thinking ahead there, yeah.
I would do Marston to help get that revitalized and moving forward.
We just need to say who wants to be on the board. I don't think we need to vote.
Right,
Just kind of appointing to who's gonna
right,
be there.
right, okay.
What have we got for boards that we're supposed to be on?
Budget, planning, CIP, and Marston.
I mean, I don't mind doing the planning. I mean, it's a lot of, but I enjoy it, so. Unless you want to be on it.
No.
No, but if he's doing planning, that leaves budget. You and Tyler can split it up if that's, you wanna do it that way.
Or unless Tim wants
Or-
to jump in, I mean, he's only got Marston this year.
I do CIP as well, though. I wouldn't mind doing both if that's an option.
Marston has CIP?
Yeah.
I don't see a problem.
Now, that's gone back to the planning board, correct?
What?
CIP?
Well, we'll have to discuss that at the next meeting on how we're gonna address that coming up in the future for, if we're not gonna do it the way we've done it before in the past, is where the lead was always the select board, you know, but as it's written and how it's, you know, when you look at the state stuff, it says it's supposed to be run by the planning board.
Okay.
So that would be a discussion to have on that board to make sure that, I mean, we can always go back to continue running it the way we did as this board, somebody from this board oversees it, but if the planning
Yeah.
board should have the option of, if they want to take on that responsibility as
It's
to,
my understanding they didn't, but that may have changed now since the election's over.
it's a conversation to have at the next meeting, since we probably won't be touching CIP for another 6 months anyway,
Right.
so.
Okay.
Or 5 at least.
So Tyler said that he would co-chair the budget.
Okay. So you guys will just alternate between you two to who's doing what, or are you gonna?
Yeah, as long as he's, can be here.
So maybe ask Tyler if he could do November through January, and you could do August through.
Yes.
So the budget will be meeting, their first meeting should be coming up.
May 18th.
There you go. So coming up in a month or so, where they'll probably do their boards and who's gonna be, you know, their member, whether they have that meeting on who will take, place for Michelle King, or will they wait on that until the budget season starts in October? I don't know. That's something to address, because there will be an open position there, that needs to be filled.
Okay.
But that, you know, from last year's experience, we were meeting every single week almost. So it is going to be for November, October, half of October, November, December. Pack up your Thursdays, because it's,
Especially December and January.
yeah. I mean, whether they needed all the meetings, I contested that they didn't, but that was my opinion. But there was meetings usually every,
And it's on Thursday.
All right, so is it safe to say that you and Tyler are gonna
We'll
both?
try, I mean, fall's a crazy time for me, especially on Thursdays. We usually only got one free
I mean,
Thursday a
again,
month,
if,
but
if somebody can't make it, I'm always there willing to fill in. So,
I'll do my best.
you know,
if it needs to be, again, I don't mind.
All right, so Tyler and Steve will co-chair, be the representatives for the budget. They'll split it. Planning board will be John, CIP and Marston will be Tim. And I may pop in on CIP every so often, just
In budget.
if need be, in budget, yes. Okay, so now that's out of the way. There's nothing really to report on either one of them, so we'll go right into the town administrator report.
Thank you. The Selectmen's meeting calendar has been updated to reflect the meetings being held on the first and third Monday of each month after your vote at the last meeting. Two dates in question are Monday, July 3rd, which is the eve of Independence Day. I don't see an issue with it, but I don't know, as far as a quorum, if any of you have planned away time.
We can also see when it comes to June, what's our agenda for that day? Whether we can actually miss that day and not have a meeting for some reason, or
Yeah, we'll,
So as of right now, we'll keep it on the calendar for
Yeah.
a date. The only other day that comes in question is the first Monday in September is Labor Day.
yeah, we'll address that as we get closer to
Okay.
that too.
All right. There's two special event applications in the folder. They've been cleared by all the applicable department heads, fire department, police department, code enforcement, health officer. First one's for the Watercross event. There are certain conditions that have been notated on the license itself, so I'm putting that before you for approval. In the past, Chris Sterndale was the authorized signer. I don't know if one of you as a board member wants to be, or I can, however you choose.
Well, I think to continue with previous practice, so if the other board members don't have an objection to it, I would just, I feel, you being the authorized signer.
Okay.
So, but again, it's the will of the rest of the board members if they're okay with that.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion for that or no?
If you could, please, just because of the way, it is listed in the special events ordinance that it goes to approval by the board.
Steve, you want to make a motion?
And that is just for the Watercross?
We can address them separately if you'd like.
Or do you want to address them both?
You can address them both. The second one is for the cruise night
Cruise
held
night?
at Liar's Paradise.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do them both.
I make a motion that town administrator is the signer of both the Northeast Watercross and Cruise Night.
Second.
A motion made by Steve Welch, seconded by Tim DeBrio. All in favor, roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Hi, John Moore.
I, Ben Bartlett.
Aye, Tim DeBrio.
Okay.
Can I ask, are there any dates involved with this?
The license is in the folder,
This one?
each of them, correct.
There are dates, I believe, listed like they were on
The
the
Watercross
previous.
events are in June.
Right, the first
August
one,
and September.
first one's 6/23, 8/25, 9/22.
6/23,
Yes, 8/25 and 9/22.
6/23,
I'm sorry?
second date,
8/25,
8/25. The third date,
9/22.
thank you.
And then obviously with the cruise night, it's what, every Tuesday
That
from
will be from
May
May 30th
to
to the end of August.
August 30th, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I've circulated the aftercare agreement that's been drafted between the town and Nottingham School District for their program. I reviewed this further today, and it's been before Primex, which is both the town and the school's carrier. There's been some adjusted language, but as I was reading through it again today, there's a lot more questions that I have. So even though I was gonna bring this up for you to decide whether or not you were ready to proceed forward with it, I think that you should table it until May 1st, until I can get a few more questions answered.
Okay, we'll table it.
We'll just hold off on that one. And then the can crusher at the transfer station has outlived its life expectancy. I'm told that it was put in service in the early 1970s, and it's in a state of disrepair. Sean has received some preliminary estimates to replace it. We're looking at about $26,000 with 12 to 14 weeks lead time. Atlantic Recycling has presented another option, which is a smaller vertical baler. We're looking at about $16,000 to do that. It would obviously reduce the amount of storage capacity, because the bales would be 24 inches by 36 by 36, weighing between 250 to 460 pounds. So this is an option, however, it's not budgeted for, so it would be something to put up for consideration if you want to use ARPA funds.
What's the balance on the ARPA funds?
Approximately 115,000 of the 460,000 we've received.
So there's one quote here that's for like 16,000, right?
Correct.
That's for
That's the
baler.
baler.
can crusher and one's a baler. So, I have a question. So with all of the cans right now, they have two spots where people can put them. One is in an open container outside.
Correct.
What's the process for getting that in? Do they move that inside and crush them in that can crusher manually? What happens with those cans?
I'm not sure.
I don't think they do. I think it gets towed away as an open.
Yeah, I think it's an open hall that just gets sent over.
That was put out there because of during COVID.
Right.
Obviously, people didn't have to go in the building, it was there, but
Do we make any funding on cans?
yes.
It's probably the only place we make money.
Yeah, the town does make money on the aluminum. It is probably one of the only things.
But it has to be separated aluminum from steel.
Yeah, that's why we just separate cans and not.
But outside,
Well, the reason outside is, one thing is that the fact of, wouldn't we all like everybody to rinse their cans and put them, so that they're all
Sure.
nice and, clean before they come in and there's not, swill left in them or whatever you wanna say, and obviously you can get more, when we crush them, they're
Yeah.
more bang for your buck, it's a nice little thing, it's having this big.
is it a compactor?
I don't know I never seen a vertical can baler or what, is it just like the
It's the same thing that
cardboard
we use,
baler?
yep, same thing for cardboard or plastics. It's just it's a smaller version. So the plastics baler that we have right now, I think Sean said that it does over like 1,000-pound bales. So this would be much more compact in size.
And does it compact to boot? I mean, it must compact.
So they just dump the
Bend
cans in it and it, like the cardboard one, it squishes them down.
Can I make a comment? Since I did work for the town briefly and I did handle the aluminum cans. They were crushed by the compactor, but they were dumped in that same open trailer and then they just haul it up to Hardin's. Just dump it on the ground, they weigh it, dump it on the ground, and of course, you get the money for the weight, but there's no baling involved. Just those cans dumped in the trailer.
Well,
So it seems like a waste of money almost.
Well, doesn't get bailed, that's all I'm saying,
Right.
dump it out there in Harding's.
Because that's the other option. We could put them in a trailer and haul it to Hardin's on
Have you seen that trailer?
Monday mornings when they are up there doing whatever they do for cleaning up for the weekend. It's only down the road, if the trailer's roadworthy. No, but to answer your question, no, I've never seen the trailer.
It'd be cheaper to buy a trailer than a baler.
Yeah. That's what I was getting, yeah.
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 I say we table that until we have a better understanding of what's truly happening.
Well,
Personal opinion.
Well, is it actually baling? Or is it just crushing?
Can crusher. they dump
Right, but the new machine, is it baling and tying it up and, or?
Can we get like
It
two of
is?
them and just friggin' put a can in?
Yes. It is a vertical baler, so that's what it's supposed to do, is produce a 24 by 36 by 36 cube of,
So then how would they, if we didn't go with the machine, how would they crush the cans to make more room?
They wouldn't, they'd have to haul them.
And the
And
trailer
the open
would be
trailer.
cheaper.
But it depends on how, I mean, I don't know how much that fills up. We're a party town.
Yeah, well, let's, let's table it for now until we have more information.
well, okay, so before we do that, one question is, what information are we looking for them to grab?
I'd like to know
Well, I mean, just, we wanna make sure this
Yeah.
is clear for her, so that we don't table it and come back and say,
how often do
what'd
they
you
have
find
to-
out? She goes,
Right.
would they have to lug that trailer and what's the cost?
And how many cans do we generate in the course of a week, 2 weeks, month? Is it one trip a week? Is it one trip a month? Is it one trip
I'd wanna think.
every
we-
other month?
I bet we'd fill that thing up, since we don't have the other one. I bet they'd fill up that cage every single weekend.
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah.
And then there's also a
Yes.
question about the trailer.
Especially since
That's
they're
not a dump body type trailer, so how are they emptying it?
Shovels.
Shovels? It's still cheaper to get a dump body type trailer than it would be to get a baler. And put a cage on it. So that way you can
guess
just
it
go up, dump it and go.
Yeah, I'd just like to know what the benefit is of crushing them versus,
Fair enough. I'm just presenting the information
Yeah.
I've been provided.
I mean, we could also go to various towns, say Lee or Barrington, even Deerfield, who has a fairly modern transfer facility. I know Lee's probably pretty advanced. See how they deal with them.
Okay? Would you like to add that up?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. And for some updates, the new utility truck for the highway department was picked up last week. It's been registered and it's currently being outfitted. So it should be in service by the end of this week.
What do you mean by outfitted?
What's
What's it being outfitted?
lined and getting the plow gear on,
I'm sorry.
getting the plow gear on and.
Oh,
having
okay,
it-
okay, yeah,
The
all right,
boxes on the back and
all right.
lights on it and.
Additionally, they started the road grading last week, and that's obviously in progress across town. For the transfer.
Is that, road grading, is that being done by us or is that being done by the contractor that we hired and we had a previous agreement with?
I believe it's contracted, but I will
Okay.
double check.
What roads are you talking about?
Road grading?
What roads?
Just all town roads. They're in the process. They started this past week.
Sorry.
We subbed out 2 years ago? Some of the grading to, we got a really good price on it for what they were charging. And he was grading all the roads basically on the other side of town. He has a much newer, nicer, grader than ours, so, and due to lack of employees, it was something that we found beneficial to have a private company just do the grading to keep it more, I don't wanna say upgraded, but to keep, keep the process of the roads.
How often was he
Maintained.
grading?
I don't have that report in front of me, I remember seeing something about it,
I
but.
think you did it a couple times during the summer,
That's it?
or as needed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was more, I think it was more as needed on the roads that were getting there. We weren't trying to,
And who was making that decision as to when they should be graded?
I think it was probably just a recommended that.
Public Works Director?
Yeah, but I think it was also, when he was gonna go grade it, it was more that, you're not just gonna do one road and that's it. You're gonna say, okay, look, there's 5, 6 roads so that the guy can allocate his time saying, all right, I got a week that I
Okay.
can take my, and
Okay.
instead of just trying to say, oh, we need you today, then we don't need you for another 3 days. It was done on a basis where it'd be beneficial because of the price that we were paying for this guy. Cause I think it was only like $100 an hour or whatever he was charging on the grader, which is cheap.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. Okay.
At the transfer station, Gary Anderson completed the insulation and vapor barrier installation relative to their heating system over there, just to bring it back up to code after the new system was brought up. Dale went over and did an inspection, and those were a few of the items that he had noted, so I believe that is all set now. The recycling and trash disposal policy is attached for review. I figured we'd bring it up as an agenda topic for our May meeting.
I agree.
Quick report on fire and rescue. All the equipment's up to date for maintenance and fully in service. And an update on the new ambulance. It's tentatively scheduled for October, if not sooner. So we are moving up, it seems, every time we try to get an update.
And that's on the Ford chassis?
Correct.
Okay.
General town buildings information. There's some trees at the town square that Steve had brought up that should be removed. And there's also there's a couple outside here, the town office, that should probably be removed. We have some that are invasive and spreading, but it's more than we probably want to get the volunteer cleanup crew involved in, so. I know the library is in the process, or they've just had some trees removed, so we'll probably put out some requests for quotes and see if we can get a vendor to do that. And then additionally, the wastewater drain replacement from the police department over to here is scheduled tentatively for the beginning of May before the summer camp program starts up. So we will be under construction, and at the same time, we're gonna do the lighting upgrade in the gymnasium and the ceiling tile replacement. So hoping to get that done the earlier part of May so it doesn't get close in case it goes over.
We've appropriated funding for that already.
That is correct. There is money allocated for that
Okay.
before me.
A note for when you talk to Sean. We need his, since the snow's all gone, we need his Lamprey River, the Lamprey River Drive, Lamprey Drive,
Yes,
review.
yes.
So we can get that squared away.
That is in your packets.
Oh, perfect.
I
didn't
put
see it on
in
our
there-
agenda, so I
I
didn't-
put that in there for information for you to digest for the next couple of weeks because it wasn't an agenda topic and we probably should add it as an agenda topic.
Okay.
It's
Alright,
both a
see it.
memo from Sean as well as a letter from CMA.
Just a quick question before we move on from the recycling center policies. Is that, I mean, I don't wanna push it further out, cause I think it needs to be addressed sooner than later, but should we ask Sean or Wayne to come in? Or should one or two of us meet with them before that meeting or before we review it so we can get their input on? Cause we don't even know how the aluminum cans are being processed, so I think us sitting down, kind of reviewing the policies, I mean, it's kinda hard without the people that are actually doing it.
Right. It'd be good to have some input.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to meet with them, I just can't do it before May 1st, so. But just a thought.
Personally, I think I will try to, I don't know what my schedule is this weekend, but it'd be nice to go up to the dump and just see what, I shouldn't say dump, transfer station, recycling center, to, talk about it. See what kind of shape that crusher's in, and,
I think showing them the policy too and saying, okay, I mean, it's so outdated.
right,
Would-
get some input
Yeah.
and, maybe show them a little support from the select board instead of just sitting in our meetings here like tonight and chastise them on various things, but, maybe for,
Can I make a suggestion? I would like it always referred to as a recycling center.
yes, we get that.
We will do
That's
our
why I made
best.
my correction.
We will do our best, Steve. Okay, all right, how do you wanna handle this, Tim?
Well, I would like to move that item, you know, to the, probably the next meeting after that.
So
Yeah, to give
third
us-
Monday in May.
Yeah,
The 15th.
All right. I'm okay with that. John?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay.
Where was I? Okay, I met with, the trustee of the trust funds last week, just to kind of bring you up to speed there. They're moving some of the funds around into CDs for 6 month and 1 year with respective yield of 3.75 to 4% to get some better yields. CD rates right now are actually somewhat competitive, so, nothing that we're going to touch in that time frame. So it makes the most sense.
What money are you moving?
There's a few trust funds that are being moved around into CDs, but they're short-term, 6 month and 1 year. Other than that, I just, I've been working around town. I went to the transfer station last week, sorry, the recycling center.
Thank you.
I've been there. I did a roads tour with Sean. We did about 4.5 hours. We hit every surrounding town just to kind of familiarize with some of the problem culverts and just making my rounds. So continuing to get updates from specific department heads and familiarize
How many miles of dirt road do we have in town?
a lot. 51? I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
18 miles, wasn't it? But I don't think that was including the
Not
new,
including the camp roads or the lake roads.
It did say on the town website, when you actually went under, you could actually look it up.
Yeah.
And it does
Okay.
list how many by the roads, dirt, and they,
We got a lot of dirt roads.
There's a poster out in the hallway that has that information on it.
okay, any, I want to, anything else?
No, that's
No,
all I have, other than non-public.
Real quick, action item reviews from last meeting? Anything? Transfer station? Recycling center? We've already touched that tonight. All right, so we have an appointment here at 7 o'clock. Skips Severns, is that how you say it? Yeah. Yep. Come right up.
Good evening.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Yep, Skip Severance, 340 Stage Road. I'm not real sure why I'm here, but I did send you folks a letter identifying what I termed Fire Chief Disciplinary Action Procedure / process that you folks, not that you followed, but the one that I think you should have followed, which goes by way of the Nottingham Fire and Rescue Department bylaws, which was attached to the letter. I haven't heard anything from anybody, so I guess you all have copies. Questions, I guess, I don't know.
Well, if you're looking to see if you're getting information in regards to what has happened, we can't discuss that.
Oh, no, no,
That's
no,
personnel
that's not
issues.
what you didn't read this, I guess.
Yeah,
'cause
well, I've
this is
perused it.
clearly not the intent to do
Yeah.
anything in regards to the disciplinary action.
Yeah.
It's only the procedures. It appears to me that you folks treated the fire chief as if he was a town employee, which he is not, according to the information that I found. He's an elected official. I used to be a planning board chair. I don't think I would have liked you folks dealing with me as a planning board chair either, from the standpoint of things if there was a disciplinary action. Elected officials work for various entities, not necessarily for you folks. So that's why I'm here. What happened there, forget the disciplinary action that took place, but there's a whole procedure in the bylaws that tells how you deal with that. And,
so one question I had when I read this,
yeah,
and that came up, is that the bylaws, when you're reading this here, still represent Nottingham as a volunteer fire department. We're no longer a full-time we're no longer just a volunteer fire department.
you'll also read in there that addresses the full-time fire department individuals. And although I will differ with you to say that most of the fire department is volunteer. Yes, there are full-time fire department people.
How does that separate between a
Oh,
vol?
no, no.
No, I'm just saying between a
Please.
volunteer and
All I'm here for is the fact that I found the bylaws, I read the bylaws, it presents a procedure for taking care of these types of things. Beyond that, I have no idea.
Okay, no, I read, it was very informative, so I appreciate you bringing it to,
Yeah, I'm just raising the flag, and here I am. And I'm just, I guess I'm here so you
Was
guys
this
can ask questions. and-
presented to the town attorneys?
It was.
Okay, did they had any,
I don't have any feedback to provide, other than it was the first time that she had seen it as well. I sent the entire package that Skip had sent over.
I don't feel comfortable making a comment until we heard from our attorneys.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
I will identify that there are other groups in town that are elected officials as part of their bylaws. And so I would hope that the attorney looks at that for those entities also. And again,
Okay,
I'm not addressing what happened.
okay.
I think the procedure that you guys followed was for a town employee, and I don't think he's a town employee.
I did look back through the history. I only pulled back probably the past 3 or 4 years. So based on the election from the association, an annual appointment has been made by the Board of Selectmen for the fire chief, which would then assume that the appointment by the Board of Selectmen would put him in an employee situation, but
Really?
if it's the position appointed by the Board of Selectmen, then he would be a town employee.
So if I was to volunteer for, like, the Marston committee that I did, and we were appointed, we would become a town employee?
I don't know, I think it's probably something that we need to clarify.
Yeah, I'm just raising the flag. I don't know where it goes from here, but when I heard the news, my immediate reaction was, you can't do that. He's not a town employee. So that's where I'm coming from. I just
That's fair enough.
submitted it before the last meeting, but you guys were full, so I couldn't get on, so here I am. That it? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Robin Como?
Robin Como, 176 Stevens Hill Road.
Anthony Como, 176 Stevens Hill Road.
And I'm not sure if Kelly had a chance to forward my letter and pictures to the board, but the reason why I'm here tonight is because of a road management easement deed that the planning board had proposed, and for the subdivision that I did for my son for a lot so he could build a house next to me. And my concern is, well, actually a couple concerns. We already have in place, when my husband and I, back in 2003, built our house, we had an agreement with the town that we had to give a 25-foot setback from the middle of the road. So if that's in place, and that's what we did, I don't understand why we have to do a easement deed, which is a legal contract, which takes our rights away for being able to maintain that part of our property. Because right now, I mean, we mow it. If you've been down Stevens Hill Road and seen my property, we've done a great job in the past 30 years, just keeping it nice and clean, keeping the open field, you know, so that it's aesthetically appealing and looks good. But with the easement deed, not knowing whether or not the town will ever widen out there, because we've been told that there's no existing plans for widening the road at this point in time. So I'm legally giving up my rights to continue maintaining and keeping the property there looking good, because if we keep the rest of it mowed and the way that we've done it, then the front part is going to grow up, be all weeds, and it'll look like crap, unfortunately. Because I don't see that the town would come out and mow it and keep it, you know, clean. So I just want to know if, why I'm not being grandfathered to keep the 25-foot setback, why I have to do this easement deed. So I guess I'm just requesting that you guys deny it, so then I don't have to worry about that, and then the 25-foot setback stays in place.
Why is this being, again, I read the thing from Kelly.
So was the application with the subdivision of the lot, is that what generated this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody knew, when they did this, that we already had this setback in place. But the planning board, when my son brought it up to them, they said they can't do anything, even though they proposed it and they said to do this. They said they couldn't change it and they couldn't take it away, that it was Board of Selectmen that had to do that.
This is, you guys are triple C, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I know, I'm planning board, I sat through all your meetings, so I'm very familiar with who you are and what you do, I'm just making sure that we're still
Yes.
on this.
Yeah.
If you haven't been out to the far side of Stevens Hill,
Oh, I have, many a time.
okay, I mean, this property is located pretty much at the end of,
Almost on Deerfield
Nottingham,
Lane.
yeah, pretty much the end.
After you go around the corner.
Beautiful area out there.
What?
But
Beautiful out there.
Right. It is a very narrow section of the road that's right there, right? I didn't know that if the town did any agreement, I mean, I wasn't at this, unfortunately, I couldn't make this one last meeting, which I don't know if you were in front of that board this last Wednesday?
No, not this one.
All right, so I'm still current on what was going on, okay.
I could be wrong, but I was always under the impression that every town approved road had a 50-foot right-of-way.
You're talking about a historic,
I know, it's a scenic road.
so
Not even historic.
Really?
it's not considered one of the scenic roads of Nottingham?
Scenic roads don't have any width to them, required width.
Well, the road's old, so it's not like a new road where now you have to have 50 foot, so what you do for planning board, you have to have it's all designed and done.
Okay.
The front, I mean, their road in one spot, maybe it's only like 15 feet wide where the stone wall here and this stone wall, I mean, it's pretty narrow. Like, two big trucks are not passing. So I don't recall this subject coming up about the 25 on your side.
Well, my son brought it up. Did you mention the setback? We hadn't brought that up about the setback because, well, we talked about other, properties having setbacks and not having to do easements. But never even gave it a thought to bring it up about ours until after basically everything had been done. My son had brought up about getting rid of the, I think that was in the February 8th meeting? February 8th. Yeah, about getting rid of the easement at that time because of the setback, but before that, we hadn't even discussed it. And the other issue that I have is right there on the corner of our property where they want the easement to start and come up. There's a historic cemetery, Dalton Cemetery. So that would be, affected if the road were to be widened right there.
Cemetery would have to be moved.
That ain't happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the planning board said too, that he's never ever heard of a cemetery being moved because of, the town wanting to widen the road.
Well, they'd go the other side.
State does them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
This is where I defer to you with your expertise in the planning there, John.
And
So,
let me tell you, in 8 years, this has never come up. So this is a new, from that I recall, a setback that was granted, that was not written. I mean, was there a written thing
There
between?
must be because, Sean knew about it, because he made
Because I haven't
mention of
seen it,
it
so,
when he came out, or when we were talking to him about the driveway. Because we have a driveway permit, but now my son can't get a building permit from Dale. I mean, Dale's been great and he's helped us a lot, but now he won't give a building permit because of this whole issue with an easement. So that's why, again, just requesting that the board deny that request from planning board and allow us to keep the 25-foot setback. And especially where there's no imminent plans or existing plans to widen the road anyway.
is that the only thing holding you up on your building?
Right now it is.
Why, I mean, you guys been through a lot,
Oh.
so
Yeah, it's been a
3
long 2
years
years.
ago.
I
Mentally and physically draining.
understand. Again, I'd have to refer to legal, because I don't know. Again, I mean, the setback, sure, when you go to build your house in town, they say, okay, this is your setbacks, they measure it out, and it's on your plot plan and all this, whether, I haven't seen her plot. This is your house, you're not talking about his lot now, right?
I'm talking about both, because the way the easement was put on the plan, it also encompasses my property. But the setback was for my whole property. So, and that's the only way, that was one of the ways that, what we had to do in order for my husband and I to build, that we had
Right,
to
so
get that.
you keep saying, I keep referring to you guys as two separate properties.
Well, it is now, because I
Right, so, right,
subdivided,
that's why,
yes.
for clarification, that's why, I count you guys as
property one, property two, not as one, even though you're referring to it as one property,
Yeah.
still being ownership of two, but it's really two properties, right? So that's why, sorry, just for clarification,
That's
that,
okay.
but, so the 25-foot setback is for his property that the
It's for
board
the
wants?
whole, okay, let me clarify.
both sides of the
I've
road.
got, but
Right.
it doesn't, but it's for that whole 18-acre field.
Right.
The setback was for the whole thing. And now the easement, that was done goes on the frontage of his property and then onto mine. So it comes on, so it's on both of them. So what I'm saying is,
So-
prior to the subdivision, we had the 25-foot setback, and so why aren't I grandfathered to keep that 25-foot setback? And why do I have to do this easement? And the easement is now holding up him getting a building permit, and we just keep getting, like, these roadblocks and the runaround, and we have to keep waiting, and waiting to the next meetings, and
I know.
waiting for council, and council is, you know, you just can't get a hold of anybody.
I know.
And we have the driveway permit, which Dale was part of that, so, and approved that with Sean. But now we can't get
They
the
got a
building
driveway
permit.
The only thing I'm thinking in this one here is the fact that, you know, these was granted when there was a single property. Now, because there's two properties, does that change? You know, cause it's a subdivision, it's not the same
so
one
would
piece
the-
anymore. If it was the same one piece, there wouldn't be a
Yeah.
discussion, but
So for your property, would the easement impact anything that you'd need to do? Or is the easement impacting more of your property?
No, it's impacting the whole front of
both-
mine, and
both
that's
of
a
us.
section of her frontage.
Right.
Ultimately, like, when the road agent came out, one of the first things he had mentioned is that there's three old growth trees, two of them cedars and an old sugar maple, and the first thing he said was, those all gotta come down, cause they're in the proposed road management easement. So, that's one of the things that was that's the whole,
And-
my whole frontage would now just be open, barren. The trees themselves they've been there for 100+ years. It's just something that really not looking to give up fully maintaining that ourselves and just relying on somebody else. I mean, it's the frontage of my property.
Right.
It's not like it's the back corner of it or anything like that. And again, that's also why we built in the back, to still give the nice appearance of the open field instead of plopping a house right there next to the road edge, which obviously would have been a whole lot easier, and I wouldn't have gone through any of the hurdles
I know.
I've gone through.
I know.
But then
Up
putting
to
a
this
house
point.
right there, then if the road ever gets widened, then all of a sudden, you know,
It's already
it's close
dust.
to the house, and,
It's dusty up there in
Yeah.
the summer and fall months.
but the biggest thing with me is the legality of an easement deed versus the setback, keeping that in place. Because the easement takes away our rights of maintaining it, keeping it nice and clean, and whereas the setback doesn't, and we can still do what we've done for the past 30 years.
I mean, there's literally, there's enough space, like with the berm that's created on our side, there's probably a 4-foot hump now, which, believe it or not, it used to be fairly level
was
all the way
flat.
across the road.
Oh, I believe it.
When I was a kid, riding a 3-wheeler and whatnot. But yeah, that berm, if, they could easily take 5 feet from the edge of the road, which would eliminate that berm and also give a whole lot more clearance in regards to two vehicles passing each other without doing this whole easement. Like, we could easily negotiate, but come to agreement on something like that without it impacting the trees, for instance. Like, that's, I hate to say it, but I really do appreciate the trees.
Yeah, and they are old, and they've been there for a long time,
They're
and,
still relatively healthy?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. And even the power company, the trees have never been an issue for them. They've always kind of contoured their trimming right around them. It's never been an issue for them whatsoever.
Where do we stand? I mean, I haven't even had a chance to look at it, because it just literally
I would feel better if we ran this by
Came
legal.
across-
What do you think,
today to me, so.
John?
you know, I guess, I mean, it'd be good to have, I mean, I know what an easement deed is. I know what a setback difference is there, you know, when you do a deed and easement, you know, they're not, no one's taking the land, but you know, it does limit their usage, their, you know, cause again, I have an easement of the power company rolling through the back of my yard. So I gotta keep 15 feet on each side of that line. I can't build anything, I can't put any structures there. They come, they cut the trees whenever they want. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. It's part of an easement that's there. I understand, I own the land, but I just have no use to it, cause I can't do anything with it. So I understand where they're coming from, is where they're taking, you know, where right now a setback is, it's just a, you know, it's less intrusive, I'd say, than what.
Exactly, it allows the time, the town, if it ever comes down to it and they wanna widen it, that they can widen it. Whereas the easement, like you said, it just takes our rights away for keeping it clean, doing what we've done.
Well, I don't think the town would say anything about you keeping it clean if you did decide to keep it clean.
Well, I mean,
Nottingham
but
Square is a
legally, we
prime
can't do
example.
it.
Well, that's, I think.
Well, you can, you still own the property, even though it's an easement.
Not, but if you look up in what easements are, and even my lawyer said the same thing, that we don't have the right, we cannot maintain it. And that's exactly what it says in the easement that was written up, and what the town council added to it.
Hey, we'd have to send it for, again, I don't know, I mean, I can't, I'm not about to speculate with you guys on what I know without the legal, you know, in order to make a decision that's valid for this. And again, this has been going on for, if we do this, we need this done soon, cause this has been going on way too long for the subdivision. I mean, I feel for you guys.
It shouldn't be this hard to
No,
build
it
one
should,
house. You know, it really shouldn't.
trust me, I understand.
Oh, man.
I understand. I don't always agree with what goes on, but I don't always get my vote. Yeah, it has to, I mean, you could have a legal, just
Refer to legal.
give us a legal opinion on where we stand to why it goes. I know the planning board is doing it because of, you know, what they've been told. So we might get the same answer. I don't have that information in front of me, so I don't recall it verbatim. So I'm not about to tell you that, what it was, because I just don't have it in front of me. So,
So do we have them come back in 2 weeks at our next meeting?
if they want to, sure, hopefully we'll have that answer. We should have plenty of time before that, but then it's also gonna have to be brought in front of the planning board, so.
Just asking.
I mean, I think it's important for town council to know, first off, that
Very.
the town doesn't have, you know, any existing plans to widen the road right now. And, you know, the whole thing about us not being able to maintain it, and, I mean, it really will look awful, you know, right along the front of the property after all this time, you know, that it's looked nice, and we took great pride in keeping it that way. And the fact that it's holding him up with his building permit, and that, I just think that's an atrocity, that it's come down to this, and we have to keep waiting. And especially where the planning board told him that it would be you guys to make the decisions, so.
Should have
Because
invited the planning
the
board here.
easement deed was presented, or given to you.
We should have invited the planning board to the meeting.
Yeah.
But they don't, I don't think they, you know, they don't wanna have to deal with that, cause they said it's out of their purview now, that it's the Board of Selectmen's responsibility. And they said that it was whether or not you guys wanted to approve it or deny it, so.
In my opinion, I just let them have the setback the way it is. I wouldn't make them do these, but again, that's not my call. I can't just, I mean, that's my opinion. I'd rather just have the legal behind it, saying if I did state that, and needed to vote on that, that I was legally right to,
Yeah,
and say that it was okay. That's how I feel about it.
all right.
But without any legally behind me, I'm not just gonna shoot off my hip and
Nope.
say,
Okay.
this is what we should do, even though I feel that they're correct. I'd rather have a little bit of legal behind me, knowing that my opinion and my feelings on how this should be handled is correct. 'Cause I don't think they need to if they never had the easement, but again, that's just me.
But it wouldn't have to go back to the planning, if legal says it's okay, it wouldn't have to go back to the planning board, all we have to do is say, okay, it's okay, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So then we could vote on it at the next meeting, as long as we can get a legal decision by May 1st.
Right,
Yeah.
because again, every bit delayed is, takes
Yeah.
10 months, whatever, longer to build a house, and
Yeah.
you
I
better
mean,
start
they'll-
now if you wanna be in
they'll
before
start
winter.
next week, literally. Their
Right.
foundation
Right.
being poured next week.
So,
And see, and this is
These
what
have been
we're up
lined up
against.
for, it's been
yeah,
third set of builders, I think, because I keep
All
having
right.
to push them off, which,
yeah, I
How
know
quick do you think we
exactly,
can get
you don't need to tell me, I
around
feel
this?
for you guys, I didn't,
I can have it over to him tomorrow.
I mean, I knew how it all started and what happened, the reason why it
Feel
went to
about
this
having another
level,
meeting,
but,
so they can get going.
you know?
I could come in virtually, I can't attend in person after tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. How do you feel if we got an answer from legal tomorrow, if we had another meeting set up, so at least these folks can,
I'm always available, so it don't matter to me.
Yeah, this week's free for me.
as soon as we get something, we'll call
Schedule a meeting.
we'll schedule a meeting.
Okay, and the other thing that I just wanted to bring up too, as far as the, list of conditions from the planning board, it was a lot. And at the very end, they put a deadline for all of the conditions to be met by. And the easement was, it was like all these conditions had to be met before we could even get started, and we couldn't get started, and it was like a runaround, you know, it was like catch-22. So, I don't know if maybe Dale is confused about the conditions and is thinking that the easement needs to be done before he can give the building permit, because I already did the driveway permit. So, that's what I'm confused about.
So there was,
Why-
we'll just be frank with these guys, so there was a, access put in through their property, which went through wetlands. All right, that was supposed to be the proposed driveway. But after the planning board found out that it went through the wetlands area, well, that now contacted DES. Now I mean, it opened up a more, you wouldn't believe.
Department of Defense contacted
You,
us,
I
it was,
mean-
literally.
it was a lot of information. That was, you know, and that's what first made all the delays really start rolling.
Yeah, and we didn't even
Part of
know
the
it was
condition-
wetlands, it was like an innocent thing and just like.
And I thought it was a
floored.
great place for the driveway. I would have put it there too, but that's not my opinion, you know, it doesn't matter. You couldn't do it, so that was that reason. But then, you know, they had to meet the conditions and they had to bring the vernal, the wetland area back to the approved environmental state before they would actually get finished to get their building permit. Now, that's a lot of plans and I've been, you know, we were actually, I think at the meeting, if I recall this percent, again, I don't have all my notes because I'm not on planning board, but was to bring that before they could actually get the approval, because some of the board's members were afraid that if we gave them a pre-approval on them getting it done and it didn't get done, there was a whole back and forth conversation on that, which I'm not sure how we ended that. I don't have my minutes in front of
It
me.
was if the conditions weren't met by July 1st, then Dale won't give us, or give him a certificate of occupancy. So it's like, why would my son go through the whole thing, get a loan, build a house, and not do everything that we need to do? And DES said that the restoration has nothing to do with the subdivision and my son being able to build. It's two separate things.
But there was conditions put on the,
But they.
The planning board.
The
The
planning board put.
conditions.
Yes,
and that was part of that reason right there, which was also, again, this is where I feel for you guys. I mean, was, you know, trying to get a loan when you don't have,
right.
you know, all the right approvals and all this, and you're getting delayed, and now the poor guy too, who knows where his interest rate went from where he could have had it 3 years
you
ago
don't
too.
even- you don't even
Again, I'm
wanna
not,
know all
I've
that
got,
stuff.
right, I don't even wanna know, but I'm just saying.
You don't wanna
This is
know.
where I say my empathy, you know, comes, where I think if we need to get this expedited form, but we have to do it, you know, properly through with legal advice behind us. You know, and that's why, I mean, whatever decision we come to, you know, with the backing of what legal tells us, that might be the best is what we need to do. Again, my feelings are, I don't mind the 25-foot setbacks without the easement, but maybe the lawyer will shine better light for us and for you guys to get a better understanding.
So I don't understand though, then why the holdup will be with the building inspector for my son to get the permit, building permit.
Well, I
Why
think-
that can't be done while this other stuff is being looked into,
That's a Dale question.
especially where they had already approved the driveway.
It's because the conditions, the way it was worded, in the conditions, it was
Right.
very vague as to what they said. All it said was basically, we needed to have a discussion with the road agent
Right.
in regards to the road management, which we've had the discussion. He's come out, I met with him and Dale several times. But now it's Dale, I mean, unfortunately Dale's saying that we have to have the approval,
Of the easement, or
Of
the
the
easement
easement
needs to be
bef-
taken care of before
before
anything
he
can
can
be
issue the
done.
building permit.
But even the planning board wouldn't sign the Mylar copy because of all these conditions, which the conditions don't have to be finished until July 1st. So they weren't gonna do that, which meant we weren't even gonna be able to do anything until the Mylar copy was signed. Because that meant couldn't get a deed, he couldn't go for financing. I mean, it's just been an absolute mess because of how the planning board did these conditions.
Anybody wanna switch and go on planning board instead of me for next meeting, or no? Again, I just need a quick legal opinion from them.
But can
I
we-
hope
But once they
expedite
grant you
this.
either an easement or not, then you can get your building permit.
Right, but.
So,
and that- and-
give us-
And that's good, so that he can get it, but again, I really truthfully don't wanna have to do legal.
Right. Driveway
Easement
permit
and-
means nothing, it just means that you can put a driveway there.
Right,
Doesn't
but,
mean anything about building or anything else, it just,
right, but where
You
my
got the
son
site
said,
plan.
he's got it all set up for, our excavator to start
I know.
the, you know, the foundation and everything next week, so it's,
Well, again, it's Monday, I mean, we'd hopefully, I mean, if we can get an answer this week and get it done for you, we're gonna expedite it as quick as we can for you. But
Okay.
it's just making sure that, you know, what we don't wanna do, what I don't personally wanna do, is overstep the, you know, when it comes to the boards, you know, all of them are elected officials, we're all elected officials. And, you know, we're not here to overstep, you know, them for what they do, you know, obviously here, so there's a mutual, again, I think it's better off that we have a legal opinion on what you're presenting for us to make a decision on, not about all the side notes that are on the conditions, but just on this particular one item.
yeah. But like I said, the planning board said it's now up to you guys, so they said it's out of their hands.
Right, and
whether you
all we're looking for is,
accept or deny it, and,
and I'm sure I'm not speaking for them, but we will make a decision.
okay,
We're not gonna, you know, we'll make a decision,
okay.
you know, but in my opinion, I just want a quick legal background on this before I make a decision that could be wrong or right, and not based on, you know, on facts that needed to be approached of why, one way or the other, you know? Again, because, I mean, what decision we make tonight or decide on this here, you know, is going to be an impacting basically forever decision, so it's not something that is going to be, so again, we don't want to take it, even though it seems to be something that should be simple, you know,
Everything should have been simple, but.
right, but, you know, again,
Yeah.
what decisions this board will make is going to impact longevity of when your house goes to somebody else or when his, you know what I mean? So, we just wanna make sure that it's done.
Mayor, Mayor, recommendation that tonight the board appoint a special committee that, based on a legal decision, has the ability to approve what they want.
No.
We just decided that we're gonna get, as soon as we get legal guidance on this, we're gonna set up another meeting this week to expedite their process here. I don't feel it warrants a committee. Do you, John?
Could we
So
also,
we are the committee.
Yeah.
can we find out if Dale can actually issue a building permit though without needing,
That would be awesome if he could do that.
because if that can happen, obviously we can still have the meeting this week, but if you can find out tomorrow, if you could issue the building permit and get that moving.
Okay.
You're out of state though.
Yeah, at the end of the week, we won't be here. So how would you notify us?
Can you check your email when you're out of state?
Oh, yeah, we can.
Well, then there you go.
Okay, do you have our email
I thought you meant
addresses?
we had to come in for a meeting or something.
Well,
No.
you emailed us with all this stuff, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right here.
No, I mean, our decision is gonna be made one way or the other, whether you're gonna like it or not. It's still gonna be a decision that's gonna be made, and you'll be aware of it. If you're not here and able to attend in the public forum, then we'll just 2023, you'd email it and say, see you later, this is what it is. And then you'll know right there to continue on or whatever you have to do. And that way you won't have to come back and visit in this building as much as you
Yeah, I've
appreciate
seen this
coming here.
building way too much,
I know.
way too much, but, okay.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so, other than this whole thing about, you know, if the road ever gets widened, my concern is for our children, grandchildren, animals, because right now, even though it's so narrow, you just can't believe how fast people go. And widening that road will just encourage people to drive even faster, and it'll be so unsafe.
You know what we could do?
Oh, God, put a
We
bridge.
could stop grading the road like a half mile down from your property, so it just gets trash.
You
So
know,
everybody has to go like 5 miles an hour.
You
Just kidding.
could do that, and that would be awesome, but, yeah.
As far as I know, there is no plans of widening that
And that's
road.
that's what the planning board told us too, but we've been told differently, and so we've been made to feel like certain things have to be done, and done quickly, because the road is gonna be widened, so I don't know, I'm just passing that along, so.
No, we'll wait till non-public. Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, that concludes the meetings. We'll jump back to assessing. Got solar exemption, multiple, oh, those are those credits that we were expecting, huh? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different,
Veterans credits.
yeah, you wanna do the veterans credits there, Steve?
I make a motion to accept the veterans credit as listed tonight.
You gotta read them out.
Okay, map 6, lot 2-2, map 7, lot 12-3, map 10, lot 9, map 31, lot 12, map 71, lot 76, all looking for veterans credit. I make a motion that we accept.
I second.
A motion made by Steve Welch, seconded by Tim DeBrio. Roll call, all in favor?
Aye, Steve Welch.
Hi, Joe Moore.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Okay, unanimous.
I'll make a motion that we approve the solar exemption for map 9, lot 9-14.
Map 5?
Map 5.
Sorry, map 5, lot 9 says 14, sorry.
Seconded.
All right, motion made by John Moran, seconded by Steve Welch. All in favor, roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Hi, John Moore.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Unanimous.
You want me to just, somebody, or
No matter, we got
Tim, you wanna
two.
do intent to cut?
Yep. Motion
You
to,
guys warmed up on how these work.
to approve the intent to cut on map 2, lot 1, and map 46, lot 4-8.
second.
Aye. Motion made by Tim DeBrio, seconded by John Moran. All in favor, roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Hi, Joe Moore.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Unanimous. You wanna do the elderly exemptions too?
I move to accept the elderly exemption on map 18, lot 16, and map 58, lot 2.
Second.
Motion made by Tim DeBrio, seconded by Steve Welch. All in favor, roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Hi, Joe Moore.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Steve, you wanna do the last?
Sure, we got one intent to excavate, map 10, lot 12. Make a motion to accept.
I second.
All right, motion made by Steve Welch, seconded by Tim DeBrio. All in favor, roll call.
Aye, Steve Welch.
Hi, Joe Moore.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Unanimous.
Future note for everybody here, I think it would be easier for us when we do these in the future, since our note taker and our minutes taker is doing this off of video, that is one person, that will just continue to read them all instead of like what we did now to split them up.
Yeah. Sure.
So when you get there, we just do it also that they know who the first and who the second is, and then it's easier for her to
Yeah.
make sure the minutes are clarified and so that we're not jumping back and forth and
Perfect sense.
trying to make the job not so brutal for her.
Well,
Okay, was there anything other than the elections and the committees for general business?
No.
No? Okay. Review action items for next meeting? The, recycling.
Those are the bylaws for the transfer station, recycling center.
Yeah.
At least we're not calling it a dump.
And the Lamprey Drive.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
Well, this was on transfer station, recycling center bylaw,
The policy.
The
the
policy.
policies. Do we need to also, we're gonna also talk about the baler,
Yeah.
Yes.
that too, so it's gonna be like 2 action items for the transfer station.
Equipment, recycling center equipment, however you wanna
Right.
word it, yeah. Okay,
I mean, a full update would be nice on that, cause, did we get the new Bobcat, or, that come in yet? Is that there? Are we?
The backhoe.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
backhoe, sorry. I don't drive them. But it was an expensive piece of equipment. I wanna make sure that we got it, that it's running, that it's working, that it's doing the job that is needed to do, so, I'd like an update when we get expensive items in any of our department heads, that we at least have a little note from them saying, well-received, working, this is, this, and so that we're aware of the people's money that we just spent, is being used and accounted for.
appropriate manner.
Yeah, so that,
we haven't received the backhoe yet, correct?
I don't know,
No.
when are we gonna receive it?
I can find out for the next meeting.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna get the truck before we get to the backhoe, so.
These cruisers today.
Yeah, so you didn't know about
Yeah.
that either.
Yeah,
I knew we were getting one, I just didn't know it arrived, so.
all right. Anything else?
Non-public.
I have non-public. Before we go to non-public, is there any public comments?
Yes. My name is Bob DeRozier, 75 Stage Road, and I just want to say how disappointed I am to see how you guys are handling the suspension of the fire chief and a fire lieutenant as well. It seems like nobody is acknowledging her. I mean, everybody here, I realize some of you selectmen haven't been involved in this, but now it's in your lap, as well as yours. It's just, most of you know them, you know what they've brought to this community. And for you to treat them the way you're treating them now is quite disheartening. I mean, he's been a member of the department for 30 years, been chief for 17 years. She's been a member of the department for 17 years. She's an advanced EMT. There's only 3 in the department. And the chief is also an EMT. And you've removed 2 EMTs from the department. That's pretty disheartening. And after 25 days, they still do not know what the accusations are. That to me is wrong. By contrast, you have a public works director who's been accused of assaulting an employee, yet it doesn't seem like anything has been done to him. I mean, this is disgusting, the way it's being handled. I don't know who's advising you, but it doesn't make sense. They should at least have been told what the accusations are. And if it's proven, the accusations are proven false, good luck getting them back to serve this community again.
For the record, I just wanted to state that, the two employees that you were referring to, the fire chief and lieutenant, they're on a paid administrative leave. They're not, it's not suspension.
She works per diem and on the point system, she's not allowed to work, so where's the pay coming from?
That's a personnel issue that we can't discuss out in
He
public.
works on the stipends, 11,000 for what he does?
Okay. Any other public comments? Nope, okay.
Are we moving to non-public?
Yeah, we'll move right to non-public.
RSA, are we on
What are we doing?
A, B? A?
Yes.
I make a motion that we, go into non-public per RSA 91-A:3-2-A.
I second.
Okay, motion made by John Moran, seconded by Tim DeBrio. Roll call, all.
Aye, Steve Walsh?
Hi, John Moran.
Aye, Ben Bartlett.
I, Tim DeBrio.
Okay, we are now going into non-public.
When we adjourn the meeting,
And when we adjourn the we'll come out, we'll adjourn the meeting and
seal the minutes and close.
seal the minutes and close it. Thank you, Nottingham.